So I'm Matthew Wilson, I work at Rovio. I run Rovio Stars, our publishing label, and well, I cut all the deals and help find all the content for the unit, and then I bring in our producers and our PMs to make those products beautiful and bring them to the world.
So how exactly does the publishing work at Rovio? Obviously, Rovio Stars is, I don't know how new I would describe it, but it's still relatively new. I mean, how do you go out and source these games? What kind of things are you looking for?
So we go out to a lot of conferences, we go out to, well, we get tons of submissions through our email boxes. We scout websites like yours and your competitors to try to find up-and-coming titles. So far, most of the games we found are from conferences. But you know, when we get those titles in, we offer the developers full marketing support, so they get to go out to our 200+ million MAU. Plus they get a dedicated producer and PM on the titles, so we get to polish the titles up, put in all the viral hooks, and then the PM will help optimize the game economy in the title and make sure that it has the best monetization and retention possible. Yeah,
so I mean, you've outlined there some of the pros that you've sort of put it for getting a publisher. I mean, there's going to be people out there looking for a publisher now, and I mean, obviously you're trying to position yourself with that, but in your past, obviously, Rovio used to work with Chilingo, and there's been those kind of relationships. What are the important elements that a company or a developer who's looking to get published, what things should they be looking out for? What are those important elements?
Well, to work with Rovio, right now for our publishing unit, we're looking exclusively at free-to-play games. We're probably going to only put out 5 to 10 games a year. We're being super selective. I hope that it's more like 5 rather than 10, just a small amount of games that we can build businesses around. With every deal we sign, we put in an ancillary product component, so if the game gets really big, we can make plush toys, we can do animations. So if you want to work with us, what you really need is games with strong characters and a good narrative.
Yeah. And so I think that's an interesting point, because you've published a number of games, but I think so far Tiny Thief would perhaps be the name that's really stood out for a lot of people. And I guess I think one of the things is that it can be quite challenging to create one of these games, to create that really memorable character. What kind of advice would you give to developers who are looking to go out and perhaps build that catchy character that really captures people's imagination?
I think it's not about building the character so much, it's about building the universe pivots. So if you think about it like Lord of the Rings, everything revolves around the ring, the Matrix, everything revolves around the Matrix. So it's not so much the characters. Great, beautiful characters is a good step up, but it's about having the right universe pivot so you can build a brand around it if the game succeeds. Yeah. In Angry Birds, the pivot is very simple. Bird steals pig's eggs. Or pig steals bird's eggs, and the birds get revenge, and that was where the whole world based off of. Yeah. And if you have that pivot from moment one that's understandable to the whole audience, then you can build a brand pretty easily out of what you have. But you still need to have beautiful art, cool looking characters, and well, if you start with a game, you need a game that has a big user base.
Yeah. So I mean, it's quite a difficult thing to do that, but do you see that building these brands and building these characters, is this the future of mobile in terms of mobile gaming? Because companies are looking at ways of basically making the most from a market that's increasingly maturing. And obviously Rovio have spent a lot of time constructing a brand, and you look for these games that have these components. But is this the most important trend that you're seeing in the industry, or is there something more important for people to look at?
I mean, building brands is obviously very important. It helps you when you launch your second and third game. But realistically, a good core game mechanic is the most important thing in this industry. You could build a brand in consumer products and bring that to games much easier than you could build a brand in the game space. I mean, I would say there's us and only maybe 2 other companies that have successfully done that so far. So we, of course, you know, we're trying to find cool brands in games to expand them, but it doesn't happen often.
Yeah, so it sounds to me that, sort of, just to summarise, just before we finish up, that these developers should be looking to build a great game with a fantastic mechanic, get themselves that pivot to hold the whole universe around, and then perhaps look for a publisher if that's what's right for them.
Yeah, I don't think a publisher is right for everyone. No. If I was doing premium games, I would go out by myself. If I had a cool game, good art, I would talk with the platform holders. Yeah. But if you've got a game with good retention and good conversion rates, high LTV, but you don't have money to support it with user acquisition, go out and find a publisher that can get you to where you want to be quick, rather than slowly building the business out of your game, because maybe 10 other clones will come out while you're slowly building that business and you'll miss your opportunity.
Okay, well, thanks very much for joining us, and thanks for the advice.
All right, very nice to meet you.
Cheers.
Cheers.